Okay, let's get into the build. So, let's take it from the top. For your aura slot, you're going to use Steel Charge, because this is partially a melee focused build, so it will do you a fair amount of damage. Then, for your Exilist, you're going to want Preparation. Preferably, and this is all up to you, but where I am right now, this is rank 6. Will do you just fine. You can take it to rank 10 if you want, up to you. Then your first piece is Prime Vigor for the increased shields and health, just for a bit of more staying power. Or if you want to be a bit cheeky, you can do Prime Redirection, which just gives you a bit more shields, but it will translate more later on. But for now, I'm using Prime Finger. Then, Transient Fortitude for increased ability. Your duration will suffer, but that's okay. You can sort that out with Archon Shards. Then, Amar's Hatred for armor and increased ability strength. Next, Blind Rage for, again, more increased ability strength, and your efficiency is going to take a hit, but that's fine. Then we have Augur Secrets, again, more ability strength. We're going heavy into this because we are literally turning Rhino into a super tank, right? And as you can see, the secondary effect actually works out nicely, as that's 80% converted to shield. So in the event that you're still working on getting your shields back, you can at least recover it. Next, it's Umbral Intensify, but you couple it with Umbral Fiber for that increased armor of 118. This means totaling, as you see here, you have about 363 strength. Your range is not important. Your efficiency is gonna be taking a heavy hit, which means you're gonna need a large energy pool, and your duration is you're gonna keep casting your abilities, and it's only one that you'll use, so everything else becomes moot, so it's not that bad. Next, you have your health and shield. Should be around the 600 plus or 2600 range. Plus, your armor should be at about 1000, give or take. You could use a certain arcane, but let me not jump the gun, because this entire build revolves around this Ironclad Charge, which each enemy increases Rhino's armor rating by 50% for 10 seconds. It's a small window, but you have to make use of it. Right? Here is why. Arcane Expertise, the new Arcane, where 100% of ability strength modifiers are applied to the max shield. That's how we're reaching our 2600. Why is that important? Because it's the way the rotation works of this ability set. You have your parasitic armor, where you sacrifice your shields to increase your armor. But with our ability strength, as you can see, the conversion percent is 363, which for my testing is about 10.1k extra armor. So if you pair that, so you cast your 4, cast your 1, and again, that is a lot of increase, because remember it's 50% for each enemy increase hit. And then when you got your iron skin, you have your overguard. But it's not that flat 14,000. It takes into account your total armor, which is buffed by your charge, that is buffed by ironclad. So it just knocks on into a really, really potent overguard monster. Then for your weapons, you're going to want to use a dread. If you can, get the Incarnon. And I'll show you what to do there next.
Operator,
but
you have remembered
basic mod
how the
setup.
Tenno arm themselves.
Let me just remove that. Because this is what you'll mainly use. Your standard setup. Because at this point, you should have most of what you need. Or roughly the same amount. So let's start over here with your Exilus. Best one I've found to be was Stabilizer. You could go Terminal Velocity for projectile speed, and Vigilante Supplies it has no bearing on this because it has a high ammo count, and if you're using the Incarnon, your ammo just gets muted, so there's no need for that. Your standard hunter munitions, galvanized aptitude, and galvanized chamber. It's become stock standard for most weapons now. Then, a serration for that bonus increase. I'm waiting for that prime version of this, if it ever comes. And if you want a status trance like Malignant Force, or high voltage, rhyme rounds, thermite rounds, it is up to you. But now here's the two key factors. Unseen Dread. As it states, it becomes invisible for 5 seconds when you strike 3 or more enemies with a single projectile, meaning one arrow. Now, you'll deal 175% more critical damage while you're invisible with Dread. And because you have such a high damage rate, and it actually has a decent punch too, this is easy to clear. This is the second one, and this is your Riven. Now, my one of RNG bit me in the ass, but I currently have a Toxin, Electricity, and Status, meaning I have inbuilt Corrosive, which is always good because that pairs well with Hunter Mumu for Slash. And since it's about 1, 2, 3, 4 status types, that's 120% extra damage, and which is a fair amount. It's quite nice. Now for your secondary, this is another key one. You'll have to excuse me, I have no Riven for this. It will eventually come up. Right. If you want to know, I'm not mentioning any arcanes for the weapons. It's up to you. Build your arcanes how you want to do it. But this is just basic overview. Right. Standard galvanized diffusion. For me, it's a lot better of the set for the actual gun. Galvanized shot, again, for me, the Kuva Nucor is mainly my stat stick. So I'm literally just trying to pack on as many stats as I can. Or if you want, you can do damage. So you could do it like that with damage, or let's say let's put a frostbite here. Here we have another one. Let's go for one more and I can show you what happens. Nope. There we go. Wait. Where's my other one? Radiation. Yeah, no, slash does not work on this. Just remember that. Wow. Okay. So, let's say let's leave that one as a free slot. Prime target cracker for your crit damage. Pistol gambit for critical chance. Hornet strike for your increased damage. And I find elementalist more actually effective than the galvanized. That is your secondary. Now this is my favorite. Your hate. This will be your focus. 3 reasons. Your stance, it is up to you. I'm using Reaping Spiral, but if you want to, you can go Stalking Fan. Then, if you have access to it, for your excellence, use Discipline's Merit for the Tenokai. It is actually pretty potent and you'll have access to it quite often with your attack speed. Garnus Mandible for bonus slash and status, as even by itself base, its slash is very high on the hate. So, it is actually a worthwhile one to use. Prime Fury for attack speed, as you can see it's 1.53. Prime Pressure Point, max rank, preferably. Then Volcanic Edge and Jagged Edge, because we tried to stack on that slash. If you have access to it, you could go Buzzkill, which gives you a little bit more slash. Yeah, a little bit more slash. Then, Spoiled Strike. It will take a little bit of your attack speed, but hopefully your Prime Fury, if you have it possible, at plus 55. So you'll get about a 35% after taking into account Spoiled Strike. Now, here's 2 key factors. Firstly, Burning Hate. This is actually potent since, as I'll explain with the Incarnon, you get bonus damage, 120% extra on heat status is actually potent. That's why we're running Volcanic Edge, because it's plus 60% heat. We're not running anything else. And if you have a rivet, and if you get really lucky, like I did, I got a bonus melee, bonus attack, and bonus heat. So I'm doing extra damage on top of all my bases. Now, this one is the main arcane that you'll want to run, is Arcane Melee Retaliation. Because, as it says there, gain 30% melee damage for every 200 current shields, up to 420. And if you remember, what's our shields at here? 2,600. So that is 13 times 30, that's about 300 plus, or just shy of 420. But, like I said, the Incarnon also helps it. As its base, gives it bonus on melee damage, extra sprint speed, extra parkour velocity. Not that important. But yeah, this is where it is. Now, this is up to you. I'm currently running increasing base damage by 30. while it and when it's equipped, plus 100 combo con chance. If you want to run the full Stalker set, you get still the same base damage, but you get initial combo if you have Dread and Despair equipped. That's for your second evolution. Your third is either combo duration, 60% heavy wind-up speed, or plus 0.8 range. In my opinion, either the combo duration or the range is going to work nicely. As you can see, it's a very substantial change. For your fourth one, this is again up to you. You can increase your base crit chance, meaning it goes from 36 to 40, or your status chance will split, but I run this. Increase crit chance by 6 and status chance by 10. So it's a nice balance between the two. Now, for your companion, I want you to work. Hold on. Let's just do that. Right. So, firstly, Electro Pulse. This will be a key one, as this will add an electric attack or electric status effect onto your enemies. Your Arc Coil. This is actually going to allow for quite a bit of stun power. Oh, I can actually max this out. Now, this one is actually good, depending, because of the health restores and the companion recovery time reduction. Then, reinforced bonds. This is actually not useful. I just realized. Prime region is definitely one you're going to want to have. This is the one actually, sorry. Because as you can see here, killing X-Men costs 120% bonus of a random elemental damage to your companion. That is actually a long time for 30 seconds and the reduction of the recovery time. As you can see, 34 seconds, not long. Alright. These two, you don't need to worry. You could go for Hans. This, if you can, try and have this on. Let me actually see if I can skimp it on. Okay, if you can, I can't right now, but I can take off metal fiber for this. Right. Yeah, yes, your recovery time is increased a bit, but that revive for you is a good bonus and a good boon. For the weapon for your Sentinel, you're gonna want to use Verglass. Mine's not properly built, as I was using mostly other stuff. But if you don't want to use a Durga, there is a one that is much better. Where is she? Ah, here we go. You could also use a Sly Profiler. And this is why. Because remember, we're mainly a melee focused build, Prime Pack Leader works wonderful. Because we'll be mainly hitting enemies over and over and over, and we'll be granting them overguard continuously. Basically, the Hans Vitality, if you're unlucky, Restorative Bond is there for you. I'm actually also mastering this as I see it. This is a good instinct to have, same here. Which is a bit of a nice one because it gets them out of trouble. Medic Pet Kit, standard, as this helps tremendously with its survival. Standard, Metal Fiber, Reinforced Bond, Momentous Bond, again for that Extremist, and yeah, as you can see, I'm broke. No. This is just in case, because remember, if you want to take this to level cap, you're gonna need some insurance. For the claws, I've just kept it simple as basic bite, extremely potent. As you can see, our crit chance is 86, 6.4, 210 for our cold, coupled with the 60 from Frost Jaw and the 60 status, with 270 from Maul. You could maybe, like, say, throw on a Sepsis, if only you didn't have Chilling. But you see, you gotta pair it nicely. You could do this and just keep piling on. Oh, there's my next raid on. And you could just do something like that, and you just increase and increase and increase. Because remember, they'll also be taking and they'll be proccing these status effects. Up to you. I'll leave it like that. Now, Archon Charts. This is another key part. So, you're gonna want 3 blues and 2 reds. The way you want the blue is 2 towels for armor, 1 for shield, and then your 2 reds are for ability strength. And this is how it should look. It will take you a bit of time to get to this point. It's about to get nutty. Let me just quickly take off my companion and show you base. What's about to happen with this? Right? As we see here, 263% bonus shields, 390% melee damage bonus. Right. Shields gone, 9,500 armor. And as you can see there, 1,633 bonus. And that is hitting. How many did I hit? And remember, this is going to be constant. You just see how much I hit? Two, four, six. Let's say about eight enemies. Right, that's with hitting 8 enemies. Now we're gonna see the funky numbers. Because depending on their grouping, determines how sometimes they will react when you hit. Shield's gone. We got a lucky 2000. $2,207,000 over God. If that is not broken, I don't know what is. Right? Not bad, right? Let's see if we can't push it a little bit further. Now, let me show you what that entails. For melee. So, and yeah, you see, even there, if I botched it, I still got over $1,500,000 over God. I'm pure tank. Right? You see, right? And there you see worth incarnate. Mouth enemy. I will just preface this by saying this is in the simulacrum. These enemies will not respond the same way. And notice there's an ability I'm not using. So let me go actually end everybody. Now there's one ability I never used yet, and that's simply my roar. Because when I use it, I have 182% damage bonus, right? Multiplicative that with my 390. And again, that is just base. So let's add on. Here we go. Let's put on our partner. Let's unpause the AI. I don't want to shoot stuck up here, but okay. And as you can see, most of the enemies are already almost dead. And even then, between all the slash and heat drops, it's just a free for all. It is a free for all. Now, if you wanted to, you could go condition overload on your melee to get more damage. But because we already have we could go condition overload. That is also one. Let me show you what happens when we use dread. Right? And yeah, the encounters for Dread and Hate really bring out the potency of the weapons, which is actually very nice to see. I will preface this. This is not a guide for early players, unfortunately. This is more for the more experienced, or let this guide be something you work towards, you want to play towards. It's not a guide just because, oh, I want to be meta. No. This build is meant to say, piss off to the meta. So, after I'm done explaining this guy, I want you to look at it, make it your own, put on what you feel is more appropriate for you. And I know everyone says, oh, fashion fame is the end game. Yeah, no. Have you seen the prices of the stuff? I want to try and say, no. Okay. Right. This last part of the build is it's going to be a little bit difficult for the main fact that I still do not have the full Unaru skill tree unlocked. I'm working on that. But for your operator, this is the skill tree you will want to use. Let's start from left to right. Transference static is a very unique effect. Because it's essentially a debuff. And basically, it just strips your shield, which is not good for us because remember, our shield is carrying our armor and our damage boost for our melee. So we'll want that, right? This one, yeah, it's a bit of a timing, but again, you shouldn't be in your operator form too long. That is key. Then stone skin. This also slightly has effect, but it's negligible. It's 200 armor. We have poise. This is key, as it's immunity to slow, stagger, and knockdown effects for 40 seconds. That is a long time for you to get yourself set up for everything. Right? This, paired with Last Gasp, is the key for your operator. As if you kill 3 enemies in 15 seconds, you can revive your warframe. That is key. But this helps with your last gasp, as it increases your damage, and depending on how fast you want to kill them, remember you have 15 seconds, 25%. So it's a risk versus reward situation. This one is an armor strip ability. Again, as you can read there yourself, an energy bomb that strips 100% of enemy armor. That is potent. So let's have a look here. For 6 strike, there, full armor strike. And 8 meters is actually pretty generous. As you can see, that's let me kill them a lot quicker. So that is in your favor. Next, we have magnetic flare. This is more for when you have corpus, as this disables their shields. So you can stand in there, if they enter, their shields are gone, and you can easily just start hitting them. This is buffer magnetic flare. As you can read, void slinging out refreshes the duration. It increases the radius, which, let me just quickly show you Grenier Corpus. Wow. Here we go. Let me just take off my companion again. Right? There we go. Range is increased, shields are down. And as you can see, it's a good anti-corpus ability. Yeah. Now, this one I wanted to touch on last, because now this requires you, or at least your teammate, hopefully playing with someone, to actually understand how these schools work. Because again, this is the nearest ally within the furniture range, and depending on the game mode, you either constantly running around or you just camping it out. Again, I don't have the full skill tree unlocked. I must do that. But that's it for this build. What follows next is just gameplay of the build in action. If you enjoy the build and want to try it yourself, or want to make it a build you're aiming towards, by all means, go ahead. And if you have any comments, leave them down below. But who knows, I may catch you in a stream, and I might just be building some weird and wacky frame. Because I had an idea for Equinox MAME, I had to push that to the side. But thanks everybody for watching. I ain't gonna say what everybody else says. If you enjoyed it, by all means,